Hello, everyone. This is Victoria Mattia. I hope that you are having an absolutely awesome day. Today, you are listening to the Mom Care Coach. If this is your first time listening in, thank you so much for being here. I hope that it blesses you and that you're able to come back. If this is a time that you look forward to every week, thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate it. Also, I do want to make mention that we did change the release days of the episodes. We have Mondays and Thursdays. The ladies that I spoke to felt like that was the best times for them. However, I am pretty flexible. If you feel more comfortable to keeping to the Tuesday, Thursday option, that is perfectly fine for me. So I just want to make it, easy enough for everybody. So thank you so much for all being here. Today we have a fun episode. It is my top 5 tips for getting stuff done for neurodivergent moms. So we are referring to our 4 intentional needs, which are sleep, mindset, movement, and nutrition. These are the foundation of our self-care to make sure we are every week, every day, making sure we're getting our needs met. So when it comes to sleep, it is important for us to have, on average, statistically it says 7 to 9 hours. Now we are autism mamas, so we know that often that is not possible. However, what I have found and what the research shows is that there's a lot of times that we can make better use of the time so that when we are able to actually go to sleep, we are already prepared, we are already ready, we have done the work for our mindset so we can quiet down the mental chatter. We have turned off screens at least an hour before the time we are hoping to be in bed to go to sleep. We have settled down our bodies, meaning we have somehow, whether that's taken a shower or a bath or an eel scrub down, meaning I have a whole talk on that where you take a hot towel and you're taking a drop of essential oil and some hot water with some calming soap, and you're scrubbing your whole body down. It is actually very, very calming, and that can just be done in like 5 minutes. So no matter how you're doing it, you are taking steps to calm the body down physically, emotionally, even doing some reading before the time we're wanting to go to bed. Even if we read just for 5 to 10 minutes, it can be very calming to our mind and our spirits. And so it's important for us to do those tasks that can really help put us in the mindset to be able to sleep. Also, sometimes supplementation can be helpful, whether that is like herbal teas or some vitamins or supplements that are helpful for you. Of course, you feel free to talk to your healthcare practitioner or your nutritionist or whoever it is that you are getting your medical advice from, so that you know your body and you're able to find things that can really be beneficial for you personally. So I know for myself that was one of the things that I started with, especially when it came to my 4 intentional needs. It was very challenging for me, and there are still seasons that we have that are very challenging, and I still have to go back in my mind and say, okay, what can I do? What are the things, what are the steps I need to take as I navigate this new season of challenge? So we have these 4 intentional needs. As I said, sleep. It tethers us to having restorative rest. Now, the idea of restorative rest is actually more of a posture where, you are able to have moments throughout the day where you can calm your body down, whether that is breath work or like just massaging your temples with your fingers, or whether that is just, taking a moment for yourself to sit and just relax. There's a variety of different things, but what we have found is that you have to have the capability, which came from preparation on how to do these things, and you have to have the mindset to want to do those things and to implement those things and to do the research that you need that can be beneficial for you to help you to calm your body and mind down, which helps with stress management. when it comes to restorative rest, as well as mindset, which tethers us to having a calm mind. All of that, it helps with stress management, those pieces. Now, of course, we have movement, and movement is so important because it is the exercise that we are planning for, in our week. So you're wanting to be able to look in your week and have 3 or 4 pockets of time where you can do some movement, and that can be whatever makes you happy, whether that is weight-bearing exercises, Pilates, stretching, walking, running, all kinds of different things. And you need to find what works really well for you with the time allotted to you that you have for that particular activity. And then, of course, we have nutrition. Nutrition takes a lot of preparation because you're needing to do meal planning, meal prepping, grocery shopping, making sure that you have this protected time when you're doing these different things, and doing it when you've already eaten so that you're not tempted to purchase items that you don't actually need and that's not actually on the list, but you're just hungry, and so it's just satisfying your immediate needs. So looking at these 4 intentional needs are really important and integral to having proper self-care, because they have to be done intentionally as an autism mom. Because if we leave it to chance, it just will not happen, or it will not happen, generally speaking, to the degree that we truly want. So when we're looking at what we're doing today, my top 5 tips when it comes to getting stuff done as a neurodivergent mother. So not just that you have a child on the spectrum, you yourself, you know that you may have ADHD or autism or both, or other different developmental disabilities. You may have to do things a little bit differently as well, and so that's what we're really getting into today. I know that I have ADHD. I have not been tested for autism, so I don't even know if I'm on the spectrum or not. But what I do know that there are certain things that are very beneficial for me when I'm trying to make sure those self-care pieces are in my week. So number 1 is to have a weekly plan. So I've talked about this before, that your successful Sunday sit down is a purpose for that. Whether you do your planning on Sunday, as that's your first day of the week, or maybe it's Monday or another day for you. We call it the Sunday sit down, but whatever day that you plan out your week, that's the day for you. And that's the time that you're wanting to, do lots of prep. What do you have going on in the week? Do you have therapies you need to show up for? Do you have different appointments for yourself or for another member of your family? What are the things you need to do? And that needs to go on that weekly plan. But also, we also need to put down our intentional needs, our 4 intentional needs as well, so that we're not leaving our self-care up to chance. So we need to do our weekly plan, and then at the end of each day, we want to review the next day as well as what has gone great that day. Now, I know it's kind of a mouthful, and so if the first thing you can do is just have a weekly plan, that is an awesome first step. And then the second step, when it comes to just, this first bullet point of the weekly plan, I would suggest writing down a couple things that you're wanting to keep top of mind for the next day, or just to even review it, however it fits well for you. Because anytime you are trying to implement something new and different, it's something that we need to just be really mindful of, and often it needs to be top of mind. We need to have kind of parameters on how we're going to protect that space and those activities that we're wanting to focus on. Okay, so bullet point number 2, I like to brain dump daily as a neurodivergent person. So I like to do the brain dump in the morning, and the reason why is so many of us neurodivergent folks often can feel really in our head, meaning we're thinking, we're ruminating, we're thinking about thinking, we're thinking about what may happen. We may have fears about what may happen, anxieties about what may happen, and none of those things have actually happened yet. So often when you can write all of it down, everything that is in your head, write it all down to empty that out. It can help you to feel more in your body and to be able to more focus on the now and to be more present is a very powerful thing. I used to just do it like once a week when it was like the weekly plan, but I have found when I do my morning routine, having a few minutes of just brain dumping everything out that's in my head to empty it onto the paper, it is really powerful, and it can make you feel more peaceful because you're not anxious about things that may happen and may never happen, but they can sometimes just kind of live in your head on loop. And so writing it all down first thing in the morning can be very, very helpful. Bullet point number 3, being mindful of the to-dos and the start times. So a lot of times when it comes to being a person like with ADHD, it's very common to have something called time blindness. So like if you're trying to implement something new, you want to know what time the activity should start. But then also, if it's outside of your house, what time should you leave the house? What time should you prepare to leave the house? What time should you actually be in the car? What time do you actually want to be there? Sometimes we will think ballpark figure, okay, I may want to be at the gym at 9 a.m., but we haven't figured in the time that we need it. What time should we be in the car, or what time we want to leave the house? Because that can take a whole process there too. Because if you are leaving your kids, maybe you're leaving them with your husband, or maybe you have some other activity going on right before that. You need to be really mindful of what you're needing to do that whole period before the actual activity starts. Okay, so bullet point number 4. We want to decide how long the task is going to take, and we want to be able to really understand that. We want to be as detailed as possible. So we may think to ourselves, okay, if I'm like the gym example, I'm going to the gym, and maybe my class, I'm going to go to a Pilates class, and it starts at 10 o'clock. We need to know exactly how long it will take. So let's say the Pilates class goes from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock. And afterwards, you want to jump into the shower there. So how long do you want to put around that time to protect? So it may be that you want to protect the time from 10 o'clock in the morning to 12:30 in the afternoon. Of course, that's just an example. You need to work within the parameters and the confines that you have available to you, but you need to know how long things will take. I think the worst thing would be like you have this fantastic, time of going to your Pilates class. You're so excited that you actually made the time. You did it. You got there on time. You did all the things, and then you were so excited that you took an extra 10 minutes and you're talking to somebody that you met in, the locker room, and before you know it, you've already talked to them for 10 minutes and you haven't jumped into the shower yet. So you jump into the shower, but that takes another 20 or 30 minutes because you want to wash your hair too. And then, you leave, and it takes a lot longer than you had estimated. So you want to just be as detailed as possible to make sure that everything will work out in the way that you really hope for it. Bullet point number 5. We want to reward our successes, no matter how small they are. So the success of the gym example, actually getting up on time, getting there on time, getting yourself together and your gym clothes on and all the stuff, and the kids at school, or the babysitter, or the respite worker, or the summer camp, or wherever your kiddos are, or however you're doing that, or maybe your husband, maybe you prepped everything for your husband, lunch and everything for the kids so that it'll go as smooth as possible for them. You want to reward all of those little moments that may seem insignificant at the moment, but when we're able to look back at those moments and find the joy that we have accomplished this particular thing, it's really beneficial because those are social proofs. It's the proof that, hey, I can do hard things. Hey, I can add new things on my schedule. Hey, I can take care of myself on a consistent basis. Hey, I can practice my self-care every week. I can put movement into my life 3 or 4 times a week. That's the social proof. And when we have the proof, the physical proof of that, then it shows us that we can do the thing that we're hoping to do, and we can be more consistent in doing it. We will want to be more consistent, and it'll prove to our subconscious that we can keep promises that we have made to ourselves. And that is what this is all about. It is so very important for us to be able to do that. And then bullet point number 6, our last one, we want to be prepared. Be prepared for all the options. So if we're going to the gym, take your Yeti or your Stanley. Maybe afterwards you may want to have a quick bite to eat if you have time. Make sure you have, a few dollars available so you don't have to waste time by going to the bank or use your credit card if you have not allotted an amount on the credit card to be used. It's just helping us be aware of all the different things that can happen so that we don't get into a loop in our mind of saying, all of these things pop up and I can't control it. And I wasn't really thinking that these things were going to happen and they just kind of came out of nowhere. Sometimes that can feel that way, but actually if we're able to track it, we can see, wow, this is something that has happened before. This happens actually quite often. And if I can be prepared, then it's going to be even more helpful. And I want to go back just for a quick second for the bullet point of number 5 when we talked about reward our successes. You can actually write your successes out no matter how small and then put it on your refrigerator. And a lot of times, depending on the ages of your kids, they will be really happy for you. You can say, hey, mom's successes or mom's social proof, have a little smiley face up there. Yes, it may sound a little bit corny, but to be able to see on a daily basis, like everybody goes through their kitchen throughout the day, right? So to be able to see on a daily basis, it can subconsciously work in your mind that you do keep promises to yourself, and especially if that has been something that has been challenging for you in the past. So I hope that this episode was meaningful and helpful for you and a blessing. So, and until the next time, thank you so much for being here, and please do take good care. And then one more thing, I do want to mention this. I have bundles when it comes to skincare and nutrition that I sell on my website. If you are looking for natural products that can be really helpful for you getting into your routines and helping you with your routine stacks and helping you with your 4 intentional needs, please do not forget to reach out to me so I can share that information for you. If that is something you're needing to have more information about, healthy skincare as well as healthy nutrition bundles, I have all of that information set up. So until next time, please do take fantastic care. Goodbye.